Hi everyone, thanks for watching. I'm Lauren, and in this video I'm going to be sharing with you the recording of the live question and answer session that I did over on the Instagram platform on Monday the 6th of November. So I'm here on the shop floor in my shop, Guthrie and Ganny, and I've got loads of really amazing new fabrics to show you, talk about the new kits that we released this month, and I've got lots and lots of your questions that you've sent in beforehand asking for tips and advice and recommendations for your sewing and dressmaking projects. It's going to be a jam-packed hour. There's lots to get through, so I hope you're going to find lots of inspiration. Now, if you're watching here on YouTube and you would like to ask me a question for a future session, then you can just leave a comment on this video, or you can email the shop as well, or if you are on Instagram then you can send me a question there as well. But I'm going to switch over to the live recording now. I hope you enjoy it and I'll see you very soon. Hi everyone, good evening. We're back again after a few weeks break. I'm here again on the shop floor for my weekly live Q&A. So it's nice to see all of you who are joining live. Hello, hello. I hope you've all been okay over the past couple of weeks. I've missed you, obviously. But yeah, it's really nice to see you all again, and it is going to be a completely jam-packed hour. I've got loads of things to show you, loads of new stuff, loads of other news, and then also loads of questions as well. I think if I've got, usually it's like 1 to 2 pages. I've got like 3.5 pages of questions here, so I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to fire through all of your questions tonight. If you are asking any questions as I chat along, please feel free to do so. If you have sent me a question, it's probably on the list already. But yeah, I'll try and fit in any ones that are coming in live as well, but because there is quite a lot. Yeah, I want to just try and, some of them are like quite quick answers, so hopefully I can get through all of the questions that have been sent in beforehand anyway. So yeah, there's definitely going to be lots to take in over the next hour, so get comfy and I hope you're ready for some fun and light-hearted fabric and dressmaking chat. That's why we're here, to just forget about the stresses and strains, and yeah, just lose yourself in your hobby for a little bit. Okay, so I do have new things to show you, new fabrics. We've also had some things like come back into stock as well that I wanted to let you know about. And so I will start going through that while just more people start to join. And then I do have quite an exciting announcement, which some of you might have seen already, but I'll explain a little bit more about that in a few minutes when hopefully more people have had a chance to join on. Okay, so we have had the Kylie and the Machine Fabric ID tape come back in. We had this sold out really quickly when it came in beforehand, but we've got lots in now. So if you just want to get your fabric stash organised, basically it's like a kind of, be like sort of masking tape or like a washi tape style, so it's not, it won't leave like a sticky residue on your fabric, but it's got it's sort of printed in little sections where you would like sort of cut out a section, and then there's space to put in what the fibre, like what type of fabric it is, cotton, whatever, the width and the length of it, where you got it from, if it's pre-washed or not, and then just a space for any notes. So it means that you know, wherever you store your fabric, whether, you know, it's on like a shelf or whatever, or in a box, or I don't know, whatever you do with your fabric stash, you can just stick that right on it and then stick that onto the fabric to keep it organised. So yeah, that's been pretty popular and it's back. Is it just me, or is the sound later than the pictures? I'm not sure. Is everyone else's sound seeming in sync? Let me know. And then also we had them on pre-order before, but the stock's actually arrived as well. So it's the Kylie and the Machine, the little festive baubles. So it's like a nice little, you could just have as like a little decoration thing, quite good as a present. And inside there's a label gauge, so it helps you to sort of work out where to position different labels, like within the seam allowance and stuff, so they stick out at the right place. And then different woven labels, different designs, it tells you on the side, there's pictures on the listing as well. And then you also get, what is it, the label, an enamel pin badge as well, which is quite fun. So yeah, like 2 different sort of designs of that. So yeah, they're now back in stock too. Lots of people were asking about the boiled wool as well. So the boiled wool that we included in the Hajian Handmade Narva coats last month in October, We've now got like a range of the same type of wool, the same 100% boiled wool. It's a really lovely wool and lots of different colours. So they're all now back in stock too. So there's various different colours there, which are all lovely. And so obviously they're good for the Hadrian handmade Narva coat, but they would be good for lots of other coats as well. The other coats that we've done in kits in the past, the Closet Core Clare coat, that's nice in a boiled wool. And we've done the Grain Line Yates coat as a Sewing Society kit too. That would also be nice in the boiled wool as well. So yeah, I'll just sort of flick through them so you can kind of see the different colours, but they are, if you just search boiled wool on the website, then you'll see all the different colours there. So yeah, lots of people were asking for that, so they are back. And then we've also got the advent calendar panel bundle. So that's got the wadding and the panel, everything in it to make the advent calendar. We've not had a chance to actually make one up yet, but it's the design where it's like rows of little pockets, so you can like put your own little treats and sweets in there. So a nice new design as a Dashwood one as well for this year. So that is back. And then, okay, I think that was all like the little bits and pieces that I was going to show you. Let me just check what other comment. Okay, other people are saying the sound's fine. That's good. I received my Blue Mountain Sable Cardi today, so pleased and can't wait to start. That's great. Just wanted to tell you, I found your book in a little library in a small town in California a couple of weeks ago. No way. Spread far and wide. That's fun. Okie doke, what else have I missed here? I managed to get my hands on both the Sewing Society kits this week, and when they arrived my husband thought I had bought a new sewing machine. The box was so huge. I know the fabric's so spongy, it like takes up quite a lot of space in the box. We had to put it in quite a big box, which has been fun storage wise here in terms of getting all of the kits organised anyway. But yeah, so what shall I move on to next? Now, some of you might have seen that I put up like a little reel about it already on Instagram, or you might have seen, if you signed up to the newsletter, you might have seen it there as well. But back in the summer, there was like a TV thing that I was sort of involved in, but of course you're not allowed to like say at the time, and because the air date's now like public information, then I'm allowed to actually say about it. So I'm going to be on the Channel 5 show this Friday at 7 o'clock UK time, and it's Shop Smart Save Money, which is like a rebranded version of the Gadget Show basically, and they've got this little feature in this series that they're doing where every week they sort of compare different gadgets, I guess, or like sort of different types of equipment or like machines that people would use, and they were doing one on sewing machines. So they asked me to be like the expert sort of contributor to that little feature and look at what was classed as like a basic model sewing machine, and then a more sort of premium option, or you know, like an option that's at a higher price point, and compare the two and then work out which was best value for money. So it was really fun. We had to sort of work out what kind of tests and challenges we would give the machines, and then it was all filmed in the studio, up the stairs, and then on the shop floor as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it on the TV. I hope you can all tune in as well, and then you can see which one came out the winner, the winning sewing machine. So yeah, that's this Friday on Channel 5 at 7 PM, and then I guess it'll be on like the Channel 5 app, or like you can kind of catch up on it afterwards as well. So yeah, that's fun. And then on to the Sewing Society kits now. So of course it was the 1st of November last Wednesday, which meant that we released our 2 new kits for November. I am wearing one of them just now. It is very warm and cozy. I am actually too hot, but I won't take it off because I've got a navy blue top underneath, and sometimes that makes the camera go a little bit weird. But it is so snuggly and warm and cozy. So the pattern is the STY Arc Sable Cardigan. It's actually described as like a boyfriend cardigan. I guess it's just because it's a sort of like a really sort of longer oversized fit. Like you can see it's really covering like my bum at the back, so it's really nice and long, and because it's quite oversized you can definitely like layer it over lots of other stuff. So if you just generally like being warm in the winter, then it's definitely a good option. The fabric is 30% wool, 70 poly, so that wool content adds to like the insulation properties as well, but it's just really spongy and thick. You can see in the back it's kind of like it's ribbed a little bit, but then on that outside it's almost like it's felted, so it just really traps the air, which makes it really warm too. And then it's just got a cotton fleeceback sweatshirting as like the sort of band part of it, because we just needed something that was going to have the same kind of stability as the main fabric. And then these really beautiful pigeon wishes buttons, which are on it too. So there's this colourway that I'm wearing just now, and then we've also got like a greeny blue one as well, which I love. This is this one here. So for this version, I shortened it, so that's not like an option in the pattern, but I sort of explain how it did that. You just basically cut it shorter, and then also added a cuff as well, which is like a little bit more involved, but I explain how to do that in the video that comes with the kit. Now we only have kits left that go up to size 30 of the pattern, and then you can choose any printout. So any size range that you're making, you can choose the printout for that. Obviously, depending on what size you're making, you might have some fabric left over, or if you're shortening it and making one of the smaller sizes, potentially you might even get 2 garments out of it, depending on what they are. I haven't tested that, but yeah, it's because we were giving enough to pattern match. Those kits that have up to size 30 have enough to make up to size 30 have quite a long length of fabric in them, because you have to cut the front and back bodice like stacked on top of each other, and then because it's got the pattern repeat, you know, you just have to sort of space it out a little bit more. So yeah, we do have that. We do have those kits left, but if you didn't want to get it as a kit, just let us know and we'll let you know when the fabric's available to buy by the metre. That should hopefully be within the next couple of weeks, that we would be able to list that fabric by the metre as well. It's such a lovely fabric and would be good for, you know, if you've got like other cardigan patterns, maybe you've already got the True Buys Marl or something like that, then you could use it to make that as well. So yeah, that is the new kits. And then the other one was the Jali Patterns Eleanor trousers, which I do have one as well. It's obviously a little bit harder to see, in a nice stretch velvet. So I've got the pink on just now, and then we also had it in a navy and a tan colour as well. The fabric's really, really stretchy, and it's velvet, so it feels like really nice and luxurious too. And they're just like a little bit different because the waistband section has got elastic in it, but it sits flat. Quite often with a waistband, elastic waistband, you think it's going to be gathered or sort of ruched, but this isn't like that, which is quite interesting. So they're really comfy. So yeah, we do I'm not going to dwell on that too much because I think we just have a couple of the pink ones left. But again, we should have some of the fabric left over by the metre too. So you can always email us and we can add you to the wait list for that. So that is the kit. Would it be good for a sweater? Is it too thick? I think it would depend on what sweater you were making, because it doesn't have elastin and it's not got recovery, and you can see it does have stretch, but it's not got like loads of stretch. So I would say you probably don't want to make anything that's too tight fitted with it. I would say it's probably more suitable to things that are like looser, but I think you could make a Sew House 7 toaster version 2 in it. I've made that pattern in quite a thick jacquardy sort of fabric before. It's similar thickness to this, and it works really well. It's very warm. I actually can't always wear it because it's so warm, which I know sounds a bit weird, but because I live in a modern house, I don't really have many drafts, but I did used to live in a Edwardian terrace, which is absolutely freezing, and it would have been great in there. But so yeah, I think it would just make sure it's got lots of positive ease. And Milan went into a fabric shop and was afraid to touch. It was so expensive. Oh, that's a shame. The green cream colourway is the next month's Burda Style magazine. Ah, interesting. I didn't know that. Just sewing up my third sew over the Ava skirt. Anyone added pockets to the back of it? Interesting. I guess you could. Can't see why not. Is it itchy? I don't think it's itchy. No. I wouldn't say so. I mean, I've got a long sleeve top on, so it's not like touching my skin directly in lots of places, but it is at my wrist, and I personally don't think it's itchy. Anyway, okay, so that is the kits. And then next on my list was to just show you some of the new things that we've had as well. A few new Liberty Tanalons, which are like really bright, vibrant colorways. I love this sort of fruits. I'm not sure what kind of fruits it is. I wonder actually if does it hint at that in the name. The Liberty prints have always got such unusual names. Cebola's Garden. So there's this one which is like more greeny, and then this one is lovely. I love this one because it's got pinks in it. It's like a really nice maroony sort of berry colour. It's like very rich and saturated in the background, and then these lovely kind of magenta sort of fruits on them as well. And then this one, which has got, I feel like it's got quite a sort of painterly effect as well. This one here, that's a beautiful teal colour in the background. Spring onions. I mean, now that you say that, spring onions, but I feel like in a way spring onions in a fabric might put you off. Maybe we'll go with like beetroot or something, turnips maybe, or maybe some kind of citrus fruit with lots of leaves on it. This one's the Althea Trinidad, very nice as well. Would you say that Liberty Fruits fabric is directional? Let me hold up a bigger length and you can see. Let's have a look. I feel, see, I think, I don't know, because I think you would have to choose what way you wanted it. Because like these leaves kind of go down and then these ones go up. So then if you spun it the other way, you know, I think then it still looks okay. Then those leaves sort of go up and those ones go down. But I think you would want whatever way, I think it could be either way, but whatever way you chose, you would want to keep that consistent across the fabric, across as you were cutting out. So then I guess in that sense, yeah, it is directional. Yeah, would you pre-wash the Sable Cardigan fabric? I did, yes. All the details on that are in the video that comes with the kit. I pre-washed it on a wool cycle on my sewing machine, washing machine even. My sewing machine doesn't pre-wash fabrics, unfortunately. And then I just left it to dry and it was fine. It didn't significantly shrink or anything. A pomegranate, yes, I like that. I feel like pomegranate on a fabric is more appealing than spring onions, but I can see how you got to the spring onions. I'm thinking of making my own jumper with some cotton sweatshirting or making a jersey jumper. So I was thinking of making a Jara sweater. It is so easy, yeah, that sounds like a good combo. I'm using the green Liberty to line my boiled wool sunny jacket. That sounds absolutely beautiful. Very nice. I made mine on Saturday and it's not itchy at all. I also sized down as it's oversized. Yeah, it definitely is oversized. Radishes, yeah, also radishes. I like that. I didn't size down on mine, so this is just kind of the size that it came up for my body measurements, just to kind of give you an idea. And then we've had a restock of some of these kind of like sort of sportswear fabrics, been quite popular for like sporty leggings, yoga leggings or gym leggings. A nice cool kind of bright geometric pattern on that. This is the Retro GEOS Shapes Sportwear Jersey fabric. It's polyester and 15% elastane. I also today, little tease preview for next year, ordered the most beautiful kind of sportswear fabric, but it's not going to come in until after the new year. But it was called yoga fabric, really nice prints. It actually reminded me of the kind of fabric that you get at Sweaty Betty. But yeah, it was really nice. Anyway, I digress because that's not actually till next year. And then this one, we have had this one before, but it's come back in again. It's the Northern Lights one, and we've got plains that coordinate with them too. There was another new one that came in, which is in the Just Arrived section, but then I couldn't actually find the bolt when I was getting all the fabrics out. But if you check the Just Arrived section, you'll see it. Spanish spring onions, apparently, the Liberty fabric. I think I read that on their website. Interesting. So it is actually onions. I feel like the pomegranate might be. I feel like maybe we should just unofficially go with that. I feel like that sounds nice. Okay, then the next one's quite unusual. We've got it in two colorways. So it's this one. It's like an organza fabric. But then it's got these stripes woven into it, and the stripes are almost a bit like ribbons. You know, like a you know what I mean? Of like a satin ribbon, and these sort of variated stripes. It's really cool. It's quite structured. Like, can you see how it's sort of holding its shape? So I think you could make something like really quite dramatic with that. Like, you could really use the structure nicely, like maybe a nice sleeve or like quite a full skirt, something like that. It's really cool. So the stripes go at 90 degrees to the selvage. You could definitely play around with the direction of them. And then, so yeah, we've got it in that. It's called the Candy Organza stripe fabric. And then this is the icy blue one as well. So nice sort of cool blue tones in that one too. It's quite unusual. But yeah, it would make a really lovely sort of like stunning statement garment, that one. And then these ones here are really lovely as well. It's a nice knitted fabric, comes in stripes. This is sort of teal and navy colorway. And then there's also this is my favorite one. I love this one. Hannah, who works in the shop, made a true buy Marl and it looks amazing. So yeah, this is the peach stripe knitted fabric. It's 50 cotton, 50 polyester. But it doesn't have any sort of sheen to it. It's quite matte. It feels really lovely and soft and just really nice and textured. I actually think the way they've put it on the bolt is the wrong way around. I actually think this is the outside. I am very, very tempted to make a new toaster version 2 out of this fabric. I think it's really nice. So yeah, the two colourways of that one. The blouse fabric you just shown, sorry, what sort of fabric is it? It's so beautiful. The blouse fabric, probably the Liberty ones maybe. The blue fabric you just shown, sorry, what sort of fabric is that? Oh, the blue fabric, was it this one? The Northern Lights, that's the sportswear one. Northern Lights sportswear is this one. Would that work for the toaster? Yeah, the knitted one, I think it would. Any recommendations, suggestions for fabric for the Mitchell trousers? I loved the fabric that came with the kit, but would like to make them again. Check out the bamboo blended fabric. I think they would be really nice. Comes in lots of colours. We've also had the Robert Kaufman checks, the flannel checks. This is a brushed cotton flannel, so it feels really soft, kind of like fluffy a little bit. That's the fabric that I used as a little contrast bit at the back of my Green Line Tamarack jacket, which some of you might have seen before, but we've just had a top up of all the different colours. So there's like a greeny one, a nice sort of purpley one here, and then more like multi kind of coloured ones, this one. So they would be good for, nice for pyjama bottoms. You could make a nice cozy shirt in them as well. They'd be really nice for that, or even just like a simple top I think would be nice too. I love the colours in this one, it's quite muted. And then this one's a little bit brighter, it's really nice as well. So yeah, they've all just come back in. Would the knit be suitable for a skinny polo neck? I don't know if it would, to be honest, because it doesn't have elastane, so it's not really got like a lot of recovery in it. So if you made something quite fitted in it, I feel like it might bag out, and something really fitted I think is probably better suited to something that's like looser or more sort of oversized. And then we've got 3 colourways of this one here. This is a cotton linen, 80 cotton, 20 linen. Is a Sevenberry fabric, that's the Japanese brand. So they're all made in Japan. And this is tulips, and we got it because it's like a nice, so isn't like a nice kind of canvasy type weight. It's good for bag making, so maybe like lining a bag with something that's a bit more fun. So maybe if you've had one of our bag kits before, then you could use that. It comes in a few colourways, a sort of lemony one, and then these 2 nice, more sort of muted colourways too. I actually think that those ones might not be on the website yet, but they will be this week. They'll be listed this week. So yeah, I think that was all the new ones. Now somebody was asking, I actually meant to say this at the time, in relation to the Jali Eleanor pants that we included in the kits. I had a couple of questions relating to them. One of them was, did you find that your Eleanors relaxed and fit since wearing them? I didn't actually. In the stretch velvet, cotton velvet, I actually wore them 3 days in a row last week, and I didn't feel like they kind of bagged out at all. So yeah, I'm going to say no to that one. And then a few people were asking fabric for making a toile for them as well. We do have a denim which is this one here, which is the Washi Indigo 10.2 ounce stretch cotton denim fabric. And it's really stretchy, like you can see here, it's stretchy. The reason I've picked this is because the cotton stretch velvet that we included in the kit is really stretchy, and that can affect the fit. But it's one of those patterns that because it's designed to have negative ease, and that's effectively like how it grips onto you and holds onto your body so it doesn't fall down. Obviously you've got the elastic in the waistband as well, but you still need that negative ease. Is that depending on how stretchy the fabric is the individual fabric is that you make that pattern with, it will affect the fit slightly every time. So I really recommend like fitting as you go along, and even if you made a toile in something like this, which is also very stretchy, the fit could be slightly different when you then come to make it in the stretch velvet. And I would still recommend baste fitting it and like slightly adjusting the seam allowances as needed, as I explain in the video that comes with the kit, which you can also get as a separate thing as well. So yeah. Looks a bit Orla-Keely. Yeah, that was the bag fabric. I know it does, definitely. Will you be getting more natural shearling fabric, please? Yes, I think we ordered some of that today. So it should be here, hopefully beginning of next week it should be here, or a small chance maybe by the end of this week. But yes, if you just either sign up for a stock notification, or you could email us as well, let you know when it's back in again. Okay, I'm going to try and fire through all of the questions that have been sent in beforehand. There are quite a lot, and I'm conscious that we're already almost halfway through, but yeah, I will try and get through them all. Okay, so the first one was, when choosing an upper body size, I always do what I'm supposed to, but it really ends up a good fit. Should I be using my high bust measurement and doing a full bust adjustment rather than sizing up to fit my widest bust point? I'm an F cup, and I find if I choose my size based on my bust at the widest part, the garment ends up huge and shapeless. I just use indie patterns. It sounds like you do need to do a full bust adjustment, to be honest. But what you need to bear in mind is that with cup sizes, although dressmakers cup sizes and bra cup sizes are both described using letters, they're actually different and the letters don't correspond with each other. So for example, if you are a C cup in a bra size, when you go and buy a bra, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're a dressmaker's C cup. So I did a blog post and a video on this quite a while ago now, and it basically explains about cup sizes and how to work out what your cup size is. So either you need to either do a full bust adjustment, because it depends on what the pattern's been drafted for. So if the pattern's been drafted for a dressmaker's B cup, but you're a dressmaker's D cup, for example, then you would have to do a full bust adjustment. But it might be that certain patterns have been drafted for a D cup, in which case you wouldn't need to do a full bust adjustment, because it's like that's already been incorporated into the drafting of the pattern. So yeah, I would suggest checking out that. I actually think it's in the Sewing Society section in the website, and the sewing articles there, my blog about dressmakers cup sizes. So check that out for much more information. Okay, someone is saying, I've made 20 plus pairs of those pants. I think that's the Jolly Eleanor ones, and the measurements are critical. You have to choose the correct size. Yeah. Okay, the next question was, I was going to sew a plissé skirt material I had from you last year. Would you recommend to sew with Maraflex now? The material seems to have some stretch. Would the Maraflex work for the elastic, or do you still recommend a zigzag? I'm going to say I probably would still recommend a zigzag or some kind of stretch stitch, only because, yes, the Maraflex thread does stretch, but if you have to really stretch it, then sometimes it doesn't allow stretching enough. So for example, I have used Maraflex thread on sewing like a turtleneck on a neckline. So I just used a straight stitch with the Maraflex thread, but it wasn't that the combination of the fabric that I used and just using a straight stitch, even though the stretchy Maraflex thread was stretchy, it still wasn't enough to get it over my head. So I feel like maybe you would still want to have plenty stretch in the waistband of that. So I'm going to say you're probably safer just to use just to use a stretch stitch or a zigzag stitch for that one. Okay, I've got a dress that's too short and now I have suitable fabric to add a frill, but I'm intimidated. How should I cut the frill, straight or round? How should I gather the frill, by hand or machine? How can I neatly join the frill and dress together without an overlocker? So I would say the simplest way is going to be just to cut it out straight, and depending on how frilly you want it, you would need to just measure the width of like what you're attaching it to, and then you want to times it by at least that measurement by at least 1.5. If you want it really gathered, you could do 2 times by 2, for example. So then you just cut out a rectangle basically that's like you know, whatever length you wanted the frill plus the hem allowance, and then times that width. And if say it's like a front and back, did you see what it was? A dress. So you would I would cut out like a rectangle for the front, a rectangle for the back, join them at the side seams, so then you've got your loop, and then you can do your gathering. My personal preference is just to do long basting stitches on the machine. I would do one within the seam allowance and one without, with it slightly bigger than the seam allowance. But there are lots of different ways to gather. Like some people will use a sort of cord. You could even use like a long length of dental floss, and then you do a zigzag over it, and then you pull on that, and that gathers it as well. You can gather with an overlocker, although you've said you don't have one. So yeah, I personally just tend to do like the long basting stitch method. And then if you don't have an overlock, you want to join it, you could sew it on, and then if you didn't mind a little bit of top stitching, you could then put like bias binding over the seam allowances to sort of hide them on the inside, or otherwise you could just zigzag them. It's going to be on the inside anyway, so hopefully that helps. The next one was, I'm relatively new to dressmaking. I've only made a few items. I made the True Bias Emersons, but I was scared they would be too small, so I overestimated, and now they're a size or two too large. Is there a way to take them in? I would say if you're still quite new to dressmaking, this is a very common thing to do. I find that a lot of people tend to make things that are too big for them because they're worried that they don't want to make something that's too small. But the problem is, if you make, I guess the fear is that if you make something too small, you can't wear it. But if you think about it, if you make something that's too big and you don't like it, you're not going to wear it anyway. But it is like another thing to learn when you're learning how to make clothes, is like picking the right size. As a side note to answering this question, I do have another blog and video that is about how to choose a size and like things to take into consideration. So it might be worth having a little look at that as well, just for more background information. But in terms of trying to save your Emersons, I think what you need to do is try and spread out where you're trying to take them in, because they've got those pockets, and if you take them all in at the side seams, it's not really going to work, because then you'll sort of lose the opening to your pocket. I would take the waistband off, and then you could try to make the pleats that are in the Emersons a little bit bigger, so you're just sort of, you know, incrementally in various places sort of trying to take them in. So you make the pleats a little bit bigger. You could do the seam allowance at the centre front and centre back, make that a little bit bigger. You can make the side seam allowances a little bit bigger as well, in which case you use some of your pocket opening but not as much. And then you can just make the elastic at the back a bit tighter as well, and that will sort of help to pull them in. So yeah, just kind of spreading it about a little bit. The Stitch Sisters do a really good online class for all sorts of bust adjustments, might be worth a look. Yep, definitely. Do you have a blog on matching stripes or plaids? I don't think I've got like a specific blog. I do mention it in various places though, like if there's ever anything like pattern matchy on a Sewing Society project or whatever, then it's kind of covered in that. But yeah, I think that probably is one I'm missing, actually, is like a dedicated one on matching stripes or plaids. Somebody's suggesting use the finished garment measurements. Yeah, that's definitely an important factor when choosing a size. Okay, the next one was, is there something that can be used instead of a wood clapper to press wool? I had a little look around. So wood clapper this thing here, we get these made locally, especially for us, got a little G&G on them. But basically the purpose of the wool clapper is that when you're pressing like thick bulky fabrics, or you're pressing wool, sorry, I called it a wool clapper, it's not a wool clapper, it's a wooden clapper. When you're pressing something like wool, like the boiled wool for example, the idea is that really you've got something quite hard to like flatten it, so it's kind of like absorbing the heat and steam, and it's something that's quite firm. Otherwise what you're kind of faced with, I guess, is like if the covering of your ironing board is quite spongy and you're just like, you don't really want to be like putting lots of pressure on with the iron, because that can like scorch the fabric and sort of, you know, affect, it might singe it a little bit or sort of affect the finish on it. Really what you want to do is like, you're almost like more just hovering above the fabric with the iron to shoot steam and heat into it, and then the wooden clapper is like got that hard resistance, it's like flattening it and squashing it. So the only other suggestion that I could find just by like having a little Google around was having a flat wooden board with a layer of washed cotton wadding and then cotton on top of it as well, just so that you've got that hard surface that can actually like absorb the heat and the steam. And that's what gives you the benefit of using a wooden clapper. That's what's going to sort of, it almost just like flattens the fabric or the seams a little bit and makes things much crisper. I'm using my clapper all day pressing wedding napkins while getting its use. I love my G&G clapper. Oh, that's good. Okay, the next one was what adjustments will help a hungry bum in my jeans? Fit is perfect apart from that. So I was presuming here that the back crotch seam allowance is basically like giving you a wedgie. That was my interpretation of this question, in which case it's not long enough if it's giving you a wedgie. So you need to do a full seat adjustment. So if you have a look into full seat adjustments, it's pretty easy to do. Then that should help with that. Next one was, I made a couple of little things. How do I progress onto clothes? Super beginner. So I would say try to, at the start when you're making clothes, I would say it's probably better to be open to making mistakes and just like learning the construction order, the construction process of like making something 3D basically, because that's what making clothes is. You're not making something flat, you're making something 3D that's going around your body. So you kind of have to get used to like the principles of like making those bits of fabric fit together into something, because you make quite a lot to take in. So making something that's like pajama bottoms or a sort of simple skirt or a simple top, and then also working with patterns or like resources that are very beginner friendly. So good ones to look at are Tilly and the Buttons. They've got lots of really very in-depth instructions and quite simple projects as well. They've got a pajama bottoms one, they've got the Stevie top, which is pretty simple. And then Closet Core also have some simple ones as well, and they also do online courses that complement their more simple beginner patterns. So that's maybe another good way to like do it, is by following an online course as well. And then Helen's Closet's another brand that I think where the instructions are very good. They're very in-depth, they explain a lot, and they also have lots of extra resources on their blog as well. So that's a few things to kind of look into. Next one was, how can I raise a wrap neckline in the Sew Over It Eve dress? If you've already made it and you're thinking like, oh, it's too low, I want to make it again with it higher, you could try and you've maybe tried this already, but you could try and salvage the one that you've got by putting in a little press stud, like hand sewing a little press stud in. You can get very lightweight clear ones that are, you know, they're quite subtle, so you could do that so that you can kind of wrap it and then hold it, you know, it's held in place a little bit higher. But I did find a pretty good blog sort of tutorial on the By Hand London website that was about gaping necklines and wrap dresses, and it explains quite a few things. Like if it's gaping, it explains how to fix it, and it also shows you where you can sort of redraw in a line to kind of raise it as well. So yeah, check out that By Hand London gaping neckline blog post for more information on that. Next one was, when using a Mariflex thread on stretch fabric, should you change to a standard thread when stay stitching? I was actually trying to think if I'd ever made anything out of stretch fabric where it told me to stay stitch. I don't know if it had. I don't know if I have. I couldn't really think of any time that I've done that. I guess it would depend on how much you needed that seam to like stretch later. But I guess the worst case is that it would just snap. If you put stay stitching in regular standard thread, and then the seam needed to stretch more than what you'd sewn in, it would just snap later, but it wouldn't matter because stay stitching is just like a temporary thing that goes in until you like attach another bit of the garment. So by the time you attached another bit of the garment on, it wouldn't really matter if the stay stitching broke, if you see what I mean. I actually think it probably wouldn't matter, is my answer. Try not to worry about it too much. I think it would probably be fine. Okay, the next one was to Sooty In's shirt, specify block fusing. Any thoughts on pros and cons? So I had a little look at this and it kind of just looked like a sort of shirt pattern. So I don't like know what the instructions say where, and sort of specifically in what it references there, whether it's like just to do with the collar or something. When I have block fused before, it tends to be on when I'm doing like the whole bit of fabric, like in a coat or something, where I'm like when I'm interfusing everything in the coat, and then I will sort of spot fuse or sort of kind of block fuse. So it's basically where you're like attaching the interfacing and the main fabric before you cut it out. That's essentially what block fusing is. But it can actually be also quite useful on more like lighter weight fabrics too, that shift around a lot, because if you're working with really fine lightweight interfacing on very fine lightweight fabric and you cut them out separately, when you come to iron the two together, sometimes they can kind of sort of shifted around a little bit, and then it can be quite awkward to get them sort of lined up. Whereas if you just block fuse or like interface a whole section of the fabric before you cut that section out, like before you cut your collar or the collar stand, whatever it is, out, then it can just make it a bit easier. You kind of kill two birds with one stone. So hopefully that helps. Someone else is asking about washing this fabric. Yes, I did. It's in the video. I explained what I did, but essentially I just put it on a little wash. That's the headline there. Okay. So, still got quite a lot of questions to get through, but I'll try and, they're all like the fabric related ones now. So the first one is comparing these two fabrics. They sound quite similar, a blended Marl knit and a Marl knit. I'm having a hard time visualising the difference between them in terms of weight and drape and other properties. So I would say that in terms of like interpreting what that means, when something says Marl, M-A-R-L, Marl, then it basically means that it's not like a solid colour. It's kind of got like tones of colour in it. So usually it's because it's like woven or been knitted with various different colours or different like shades. So yes, it's just basically not like a solid or flat colour. So that's what the Marl's referring to. And then the knit part of it is that the fabric's been knitted as opposed to being woven, or like weaved in that way. It's been knitted together. The next thing that can give you a clue as to what the properties of it would be like would be the composition as well. So this one here, which is what we've called the marled petrol blended knit fabric, this is 80 polyester, 15 viscose and 5% elastane. So because it's got viscose in it, it makes it quite floppy, and I would say it's like a bit sort of, it's quite fine, it's lightweight, but when you look closely you can see that the density of the knit is like closer together. It's like the knitted stitches are smaller, if you like. So they're just, yeah, it's just sort of looks like a bit more of a denser kind of finer fabric, but it is pretty floppy. So anything you make in that, the fabric's going to sort of flop around quite a lot. And then the other one that's got Marl knit in the name, and this comes in a few different colours as well. This is the Blossom Pink Marl knit fabric. So this is 8% wool, but then it's like a mixture of polyamide and polyester for the rest of the composition. And when you look at the texture of this, you can see that the stitches that have knitted it are kind of more spaced out. It's almost like it's just got a looser sort of knit to it. It's not as dense as the other one. So you can it's probably like a bit more obvious to kind of see the stitches in that. This one, I would probably say this one, because it's got wool in it, I wouldn't describe it as itchy. I would just say it's more textured, like it's just a bit more kind of fluffy than the other one. So yeah, that's that one. Can you recommend an intermediate shirt pattern for a petite frame? Probably specifically not off the top of my head for a petite frame. I would have to look into that. But I really like the Grain Line Archer shirt. That is probably like one of my top shirt patterns that I've made lots of. So that's in terms of an intermediate shirt pattern, that would be my recommendations. But in reference to the petite frame, I'd have to probably look into that. Okay, the next question was, I've recently made the Lander Pants bootleg version in a soft cotton canvas. Do you think these could also be made in a ramie or a Serona linen to give them a bit more softness and drape? My only hesitation with that, I think the ramie would be fine. The ramie that we stock would be fine because it is actually like a little bit thicker. I wouldn't say that the ramie we've got is got drape. It does have a little bit more structure, in which case maybe you don't really want that. It's only because the Lander Pants are quite fitted over the hips, and I feel like the Serona might be too lightweight. Like, I don't know if you would want it to be that fit, the Serona to be that fitted over the hips. So I'm not sure on the Serona. I'm actually wondering whether could you use maybe the smooth drape Tencel Twill. I don't know. Again, it's been a while since I've made Landers, but my memory from them is that they are, because they are just quite fitted over that kind of waist and hip area. I feel like fabrics that would have drape might, I don't know if you would want, they would be kind of a bit thinner, and then I don't know if you would want that in that style. Sorry, I feel like that's a bit of a vague answer, but hopefully something to think about there. Any recommendations for high waist, more fitted trousers, please? I'd like a narrower straight leg style. So we did the Anna Allen Philippa pants as a kit last autumn, which was really popular. It's really nice. It's quite high waisted. It's got a button fly, and they're quite sort of slim and straight in the leg. It's really nice. How did you find the pattern slash fit slash shape of the cardi you're wearing from the longer Marl cardigan? This is longer, and I feel like the sleeves are probably more fitted. I think in the Marl, the sleeves are generally, I'm trying to think what my Marl's like. I've not actually worn the Marl that I've got for a while. I feel like the sleeves are maybe more baggy in the Marl, whereas these ones, although it's like got a drop shoulder, and this is obviously very sort of like baggy and oversized. I mean, my armpit's up here, but there's all of this stuff here. But I feel like this bit's maybe more fitted than what the Marl's like. And yes, it is a bit longer, but probably like in terms of width, I would say it's maybe like quite similar. Yeah, and hopefully that helps. Okay, the next one was, I have nearly a metre left over from making a Marl cardigan of the rainbow multi-yarn knitted fabric. And that's the fabric that's made that toaster sweater there. Would this fabric be okay to use for the Ava skirt pattern? I'm going to say no. I don't think it's stable enough. I feel like it would be too floppy. I think for the Ava skirt you need something that's got a bit more structure and doesn't have as much give or like as much stretch as that. The neckband is narrower and it doesn't look like it has a bottom band. Yeah, definitely. In terms of like style and aesthetic, the neckband is definitely, I would say, I would hazard a guess almost like close to half the width. The neckband in the Marl is pretty wide, and yeah, this doesn't have cuff bands or hem bands, but I just showed you how to add them on that one. Okay. The next one was, I'd like to make a V-neck sleeveless jumper with a warm knit fabric. I thought it would be easy to find a pattern, but I'm struggling. Do you have any suggestions? Happy to hack with guidance. I've never done it before. Have a little look at the Sew House 7 Tabor. It's really nice and has lots of variations, and one of them, it's got more like kind of grown on little kind of cap sleeves, which I guess sort of make it sleeveless, but I wonder if you could just like cut them back a little bit so they're not coming over your shoulder as much, but it's got a really nice V-neck on it. So that's, yeah, I would say have a little look at that one. The next one was, I've bought all the ingredients to make last month's coat in cranberry. However, I bought a sample of the cornflower and it's gorgeous. I know all the colours of the boiled wool is really nice. Do you have a favourite fairly formal wool coat, or is it last month's coat as good as any? I want to buy the cornflower wool. well, I've made the Closet Core Claire and the Grainline Yates. They were like kits as well, and I've worn both of them a lot. I would say both of them are quite smart. I suppose it depends on what your interpretation of smart is, or formal. Possibly the Grainline Yates maybe like a little bit more formal because it's got more of like a collar and lapels. Okay, the next one was, what's a good pattern for a teddy bear coat? I was going to say the Grainline Yates again, but you would have, I think you could kind of round out the lapels. I was looking at images of what teddy bear coats looked like, and yeah, they kind of, a lot of them looked like they had those sort of big lapels and collars and were sort of longer, and it was reminding me of the Yates. But yeah, you could, and the Yates does have, oh god, I've smudged makeup all over my face here. The Yates does have like pointy collars and pointy lapels, but you could easily, you would just cut it out, but then when you came to sew it, you would just like round it out basically. So yeah, I would suggest that. Okay, the next one was, I wear a lot of fleece tops. Can you recommend a relatively straightforward pattern for a funnel neck, quarter zip, front closure, long sleeved fleece top? Check out the Fibre Mood DD pullover. I feel like that fits that description. You would get that as a PDF, and then we could print it for you with our pattern printing service. The next one was, I'm making the Narva coat in the size 6 and have 1 metre spare of fabric. Can you suggest a pattern I could make up in this beautiful wool? Have a look at the I Am Patterns Hathor. It's like a sort of gilet pattern. There's lots of different versions, and it's quite simple. So I think you could just, you know, like you could quilt it, or you could like line it with something, and then make it kind of like reversible. You could add like a little collar if you wanted to as well, but it looked like they had a version that didn't. So I thought that had quite a few options that would be nice as well, like a little sort of waistcoat layer, gilet sort of style layer. Okay, I'm thinking about making the Claire coat, but I feel like a winter coat should have a hood. Do you have any suggestions on how to do that? I think adding a hood to the Claire coat is going to be quite involved and tricky. I mean, I guess you probably could sort of insert something in the seam between the collar and the bodice, which was like a little sort of like a tab thing that could maybe have like buttons or studs on it, and then you could attach a hood. I don't know, I feel like it would maybe be too much of a head scratcher. But Becca, who works here, she also agrees that hoods are very important in winter coats, and she is making the Toasty jacket by Waffle Patterns, and she said that they do have quite a few other coat patterns that have hoods as well, so maybe check them out, Waffle Patterns, specifically the Toasty jacket. The Tessuti Verona jacket can be made out of 1 metre of boiled wool. Okay, lovely. Swim Style Patterns does a sleeveless V-neck jersey style top. That sounds good. Thank you, thank you. Okay, the next one was cardigan patterns, please. True by Marl, STY Arc Sable, which is what I've got on. The Hell's Closet Blackwood's another good one as well. And then if you want something like more fitted, or kind of like a, you know, more of like a sort of, yeah, like a fitted rather than kind of over sized cardigan, the Jennifer Lauren handmade juniper cardigan. I'm pretty sure it's the juniper, which we have the PDF of. You can order it as a PDF from our website as well. The Tessuti Amara vest for the boiled wool. Lovely, another suggestion for the boiled wool there. Okay, do you have any fabrics for a nice warm long sleeved top? Not a jumper but a base layer. Okay, so my suggestions for this one were this fabric here, which feels really soft. I think this would feel nice, like really close to your skin. It's a ribbed fabric, it's nice and stretchy. And this is the slate blue narrow rib knit fabric, and it's a viscose polyester mix. So I thought that would be a nice option. And the other one is, if you look for anything that's like a French terry or a loop back, that type of fabric tends to be a bit thicker. It's going to like trap the air a little bit more. This one's really lovely and soft. It is Medal, which behaves sort of quite similarly to like a viscose would. So it's quite sort of floppy and drapey, but it's very soft. I've made t-shirts and tops out of this before, and it feels really nice next to the skin, and it's got a loop back as well. So it's just a bit more of like a thicker, yeah, more sort of substantial fabric. We do also have, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head now, but we do also have a bamboo version of this fabric, which is quite similar as well. Will you be restocking the navy Mind the Maker binding, please? Yeah, we will be. It might be that they don't have it available, because when we were ordering all of the bindings before, there were some of them that they didn't have as much stock of in. But if you drop us an email, then we can let you know when it's back again. But yeah, generally, yes, we would be restocking it. Okay, the next one was patterns for a Christmas party dress, not too formal. If you have a look on, if you Google Fold Line top party dresses, they've got a blog where they've put together like the top 10 party dresses. That might give you some general ideas and inspirations. But ones that I liked there were, I was writing the answers to these questions like yesterday, and I now actually can't picture what some of these patterns are like, but feel free to look them up and hopefully inspire something. The Camille dress by Fibre Mood, that's Kamille, Camille dress by Fibre Mood. I've written not wrap, and I now actually have no memory of what that looks like. Sorry. And then the sew over it Estelle dress in a jersey, I think would be nice as well. That's the one, I think it was last winter they brought it out, and it's just really, it looks really comfy. It's like a jersey dress. It's got like a sort of tie version at the side. Yeah, nice. And then I feel like the Closet Core Elodie is quite a classic. That just looks good, and so many different things. You could choose like a really nice nice printed viscose for that. Okay, next one was fabric for a gym bag using the Luskin Tire pattern, please. I was going to suggest the waxed cotton canvas for this. I feel like you might want to like interline it as well. So if you cut out the bag pieces out of this, and then also cut it out of like calico, say, as well, and then baste it together within the seam allowance, just treat that as one layer and then still line it and everything, then I feel like that would make it really nice and sturdy. And yeah, the waxed cotton's going to make it like quite robust. Is your printing paper thin? I think it's, I can't remember what the GSM is. I feel like I want to say 70 or 75, if that means anything to you. It's not like super thin. We did for a while have like a really thin one. It wasn't agreeing with our printer, so we had to go back to a slightly thicker one. But yeah, I feel like off the top of my head, like 70-75 GSM is what it is. Okay, the next question was, would the herringbone wool be suitable for the Helen's Closet Pona jacket? Yes, I think it would be. This is the herringbone here, so you can see it's got that really lovely, nice herringbone weave to it. We've got herringbone wool in a few colours ways as well. This is the cerise, it's 100% wool. I feel like when I was looking at the sample photos of the Helen's Closet Pona, I feel like it looked like those samples were made up of fabric that maybe had more drape than what this has. I guess wool fabric, like this kind of thing, was not really like associated with having drape. It would be more like a wool suiting that would have drape. But I think it would still work. I think it would be nice. Okay, the next one was pinafore dress for the grey multi-fleck blended fabric. It's actually charcoal, but yeah, the same thing I guess. It's this fabric here. It's really nice, and when you look closely, it might be hard for the camera to pick up. It's got little like colourful flecks in it. It's really nice. So this is the charcoal, yeah, I've already said the name, charcoal multi-fleck blended fabric. It's 56 wool, 42 cotton, 2% polyester. My suggestion would be the Jennifer Lauren Ivy pinafore. You could have a look at that one. Fabric for the swim style Carla lounge set. This is quite a sort of oversized baggy kind of jumper and trousers. Looks really comfy. And the samples of that one, someone's asked me about this before in the past. It looks like it's made in like a ribbed fabric. So I've got a few different options for that one. The one that I showed you before for the base layer. So this comes in other colourways as well. Slate blue, narrow rib knit fabric. So it's a viscose polyester mix, that one. Then there's this one here. I've got a feeling we might only have this left in the honey mustard colourway. So it's honey mustard variated rib knit fabric, which is again is a viscose polyester. So that the ribs in it, some are sort of thicker than others. You see that? Nice and textured. And then the other one, which I'm trying to think if we've got other colourways of this one. I'm not sure. I think we maybe have it in a grey, but I couldn't find it at the moment. But this colourway anyway is the mid blue rib knit blended fabric. Again, it's a viscose polyester mix. So the ribs in that are maybe like just a little bit sort of thicker, but I think they would all be really nice for that style. So that's for the swim style Carla lounge suit. And then we've got colourful fabric for the Estelle dress. So that is that sew over it one, the jersey dress that's got that lovely little tie detail at the waist. This one's quite nice and fancy and sparkly. A few different shades of this one. This particular one is the Midnight Glitter Lurex Viscose Jersey. So it's maybe like something a bit more fancy and glam in that one. And then another couple of more colourful ones. This one here is the Flower Sketchbook on cream cotton jersey. I thought that was quite colourful. And then this one's very colourful as well. You like cheetah prints. This one is marbled cheetah cotton jersey fabric. I would say this one's nice and colourful too. It's got nice like purples and a little bit of neon in it too. Thanks Lauren, I like all of them. Lovely. Okay, the next one was, could you, oh, I'll have to add that one to next week. Sorry, I forgot to look that fabric out. Can you show the subtle check cotton needle cord? Sorry, I don't have it to hand. It is very subtle though. Weirdly, it looks more checked on the back than on the cord side. I'll add that one for next week. Is the Lurex very thin? It is pretty thin, yeah. A jeans pattern for wide leg jeans, I would suggest the Dons. I really like the Dons. I haven't ever made the wide leg version of them, but I really like the other versions that I've made. So yeah, Megan Nielsen Don jeans. And then fabric for the McCall's M8144. Warmer and cozier the better. The neckline on this kind of reminded me of the toaster version too, like a sort of cowl neck, but then the sleeves were just a bit bigger, sort of more dramatic. My suggestion for that would be, and again we've got this in lots of different colours as well, this is the Mint Viscose Blended Knit fabric. Again, it's a viscose polyester mix, but it's got, because it is viscose, it's quite drapey, so I feel like the fuller style of those sleeves, it would look really nice, but it feels really cosy, it feels really snuggly, it's lovely, and I think that would be really lovely and warm. So that would be my suggestion of that. So yeah, that's the mint colourway, but we do also have it in like a sort of marled kind of, I'm looking at them, they're on the other side of the shop now, like a pink, a kind of like bluey colour, and then we've also got a teal, a more sort of brighter blue, a navy, a cream, lots of different colours. So yeah, you can check that out. Have you got any top suggestions for the Lurex? Yeah, the Friday Pattern Company, is it the Adrian one, where it's like a bit more fitted, but it's got those sort of gathered sleeves? I think it would look really nice in that. Because it is quite lightweight and very drapey, so those sort of sleeves would kind of swish around really nicely in that. So I think I've got, aside from the one that I didn't bring the fabric over so I couldn't answer, sorry about that, I'll show you next week. I think I've answered everything. What jam-packed hour. Thank you for being with me, everyone. I hope you found all of that lovely and useful and inspiring. I'll share it on YouTube as well, as I always do, and you can watch it back here on Instagram as well. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Good to be back. Thanks for seeing you all, everyone. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye.